right now, I've had 7 active appointments, and that is 2 closes. And then I've got, out of those 7, I still have 4 active. In other words, I'm still on additional follow-up calls for the other 4.
Can you give me a ballpark of what it would represent in terms of commission for you? Ballpark. It doesn't have to be no numbers exact.
Sure. No, I don't mind being completely transparent. So
I'm going to ask you a few questions. Take your time, and then let us know exactly how things are. So first question is this. In terms of where you were in your professional career when you joined Fondaco, how were you acquiring business owners, cases before working with us?
all right. So I would have to say, not unlike most insurance agents that I've ever talked to in their journey, I was where everybody else was with acquiring business owner leads, which was mainly referrals. So I started off working the mortgage protection leads, not unlike is pitched and promoted very heavily for recruitment purposes on the internet as good opportunities. Had a good run at it, honestly, still do it quite a lot. Decided that there was more opportunities out there for me to help individuals more than just protecting their mortgage. So started looking for more leads, started looking for opportunities to acquire more leads. They're kind of difficult to turn up. They're hard to prospect for.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very, very interesting. So listen, I have to put it out there. So when you joined us, I remember when we had our first conversation, you told me straight up that you were still skeptical. You had a little bit of skepticism, you know what I mean? But which I appreciated. I think it was you that taught me about this challenge accepted thing. And yeah, so so speak to us a little bit. Just speak to me a little bit about the fact that how you were a little bit skeptic, but then what actually kind of brought you to on the other side of the skepticism.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, I kind of promote myself as a very straight shooter, transparent kind of person. It doesn't do me any good to sugarcoat things to either you, my prospective lead generation system, or my clients. So I've always been very open with individuals in my entire career path, and it has allowed me to take more of a position of educator as far as sales. I try not to sell anything. All I try to do is educate. So when you and I had our initial meeting, I had been through a very thorough system. I will say that, a very thorough system which vetted me as a client. Mm-hmm. And I was very impressed. I kept going through the process, and there was red flags only from my mind, from my mental standpoint. Fondaco checked all the boxes. So from the initial presentation that I was emailed to have a look at these videos, to the sales call, which would have been the call that I received from Alfred, everything was very thorough. And honestly, what I was trying to do along the way was poke a hole in it. I was trying to figure out where it was going to go wrong. And when I got to you, when you and I got on the line, the only thing that I could poke a hole in, which is exactly what I told you, I'll believe the fact that you're going to provide these leads to me when they start coming in. That's right. The only thing left, right? Everything else was very thorough. You guys, provided everything that you said. Now you told me I'm going to provide you with these leads, these quality leads that have been pre-vetted, and they're going to want to speak with you. And I said to you, well, I'll pretty much believe it when I can see it. I did start seeing results, within the first week, the first and second week, started receiving leads. And we had a follow-up call, and you asked me, how are you feeling? I said, I'm still very skeptical. And you did provide me with leads. However, let's see how this plays out. So when the leads kept coming in and the quality of the leads was there, that's really when I kind of flipped the script as far as I don't have any more ways to poke holes in this. I understand that you guys are going through a process. during that time, you even offered a disqualified lead request, which means, that if we don't think that the lead was qualified, we need to tell you within 24 hours and you'll review it, which tells me that your main concern, your main objective is to provide us, the client, with the quality leads that we expect. And so far, I haven't had any leads that have been dissatisfactory in any way.
That's awesome. That is beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let me ask you this. What were your goals when you decided to sign up, and what challenges were you hoping to overcome?
All right. So the goals were to simply find prospective clients that were looking more for long-term wealth management, which, again, I love the mortgage protection side of things. It's one of the easiest sales that you can make in the life insurance because it's usually people's biggest debt. So if a spouse dies, you want to make sure that the surviving spouse is taken care of. It makes a lot of sense.
That's right.
But what I started to realize, and I started to understand, that these vehicles were available to individuals, and most people are not informed on the possibilities of using life insurance for tax strategies, for tax shelters, for tax savings, and then also to help create a tax-free retirement. So when I started seeing those opportunities, then my goal in looking for a lead generation system was to be provided with individuals who are actively looking for that, and in real time. We all know that the leads that we start buying, they're recycled and they're regenerated. So the person on the other end of the line a lot of times isn't necessarily happy to talk to you because you're the 5,462nd call that they've had about this. But it is very refreshing when I call a new client and they're anticipating my call. They're sitting there. A lot of times they join my Zoom 5 minutes early, which tells me that they're very interactively interested in pursuing that. So that was my main goal. And then the challenges that I wanted to overcome was exactly what I mentioned before. They're very difficult to turn up these leads in a referral network because it's hard to gain the trust of somebody that will allow you to start opening up and talking about their finances in a way that we have to, because we have to be very, very intimate and detailed with what they have as far as assets, what they do, what they don't do, and what they're looking to accomplish.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow, that's really good. Okay, so in terms of your current success right now with us, so where are you now in your business journey, and what has been your most significant win so far? And can you break it down a little bit for me?
Of course. So where I am now, I'm happy to report I have 2 contracts. That's cool. News to you.
You held this. That's brand new.
It was a Sunday close, believe it or not.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I have 2 contracts actively in the pipeline. I have done the diligence, so I don't think we're going to have any issues with suitability or health. So, again, things pop up, but I'm hopeful that they both go through in a seamless fashion. So as far as and right now, I've had 7 active appointments, and that is 2 closes. And then I've got, out of those 7, I still have 4 active. In other words, I'm still on additional follow-up calls for the other 4.
Wow.
One, I think, maybe deciding to go by the wayside, but that's okay. We've done some education, and it's not really for him, and that's we're going to run into that. But the percentage of close, I'm very happy with, and the percentage of active client conversations, I'm also very happy with.
That's beautiful. And since you've held that information from me, so if you're okay, if you want to answer that, but just can you give me a ballpark of what it would represent in terms of commission for you? Ballpark. It doesn't have to be no numbers exact.
Sure. No, I don't mind being completely transparent. So this client, this is the one I described to you, and I'll just go over a quick scenario. This is the client that was he had paralysis by analysis. He overanalyzed everything, and he was even worse than me, trying to shoot holes in our pitch. And it took call after call after call, and I realized early in that I could not take him to close. He had to allow me to close.
Yeah.
So on Saturday evening, which this Saturday evening, 7 o'clock, I was on the phone with him and got to a point where he finally said, "Okay, I want to take the next step. What's the next step?"
Nice.
So then it was very interesting because I said, "Okay, well, I need to ask you a few more detailed questions, and we'll get the questions as far as what we need to do for the application." And then all of a sudden, he cut me off. And he said, "I've got to make a phone call. I can't do this right now." So, of course, what is my skeptical self thinking? Wow, I just got cut off. So he gave me the sale and took it away. Anyway, long story short, called him yesterday, which was Sunday. We took the application and everything is good. So where we arrived at is he needs probably, I've identified 7 or 8 different avenues or products that we can help implement for him, because of the fact that he has been managing his own finances for years and years. What I also determined, and I want to put this out there, is when we were on the phone call on Saturday, I compiled a spreadsheet for him and put it in order of importance.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to take a step back, and instead of talking about the big picture, we were talking about one item. So what he gave me on Saturday was, "I'm ready to move forward with the first item." So we took an application on that, and we have a follow-up appointment in 2 days for the second item.
Wow.
So that being said, I think that I was giving way too much information all combined to get to the end result of retirement in 18 years, when he just needed to know, what is my first step?
Wow.
So what we ended up doing was a $50,000 5-pay for a Kaizen plan. So what that's going to mean in commission is probably going to be somewhere in the $25,000 range.
Nice.
And what that's going to mean for him is a very happy beginning to a tax-free retirement in 18 years.
Nice.
So the other case, which I had taken to close,
that's right,
actually ended up being the same plan, which was a $5,000 a month or a $50,000 contribution Kaizen 5-pay, so that we are going to start building his retirement as well. So it's going to be about the same. Then the other portion of the first client is, interestingly enough, he knew he had retirement accounts, but didn't know what he had. So we're going to end up, the short of the story is, we're going to end up rolling over about $260,000 in IRA money that he thought he had about 100. So first he was happy when we made the phone call and discovered an additional 160,000 that he had. And then we're going to roll that over for him into an annuity play.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yep.
That's a beautiful breakdown. I really appreciate that. This is really nice.
Of course.
That's awesome. Okay, last question. So beyond those big wins, okay, what other benefit have you gained from our program? Number one, and then have there been any unexpected insights or challenges or improvements? Right. So first and foremost, what other benefits have you gained from our program, and have there been any unexpected insight or challenges improvement?
Okay. So the unexpected benefit, I have to say, is the mastermind call. The mastermind call is, I've been on masterminds. I've paid for masterminds. I've been involved with quite a few. This group in particular, for whatever reason, is very willing to share and to help everybody on the class.
That's right.
And it's really interesting to me. So what I see in this community, in this mastermind community, is this is a long-term play for me in my mind now. I am part of a community that wants success for all of everybody involved with the community, not just our clients, but us as clients. So
Yeah.
you've got Fondaco, you've got the mastermind, all of the clients that are in that mastermind, everybody's looking out for everybody's best interest. Some of the willingness to help is beyond comprehension. And that sounds quite extreme, but it is, because usually professionals are a little bit stingy on offering advice.
Yeah.
They're happy to share how much money they made on a sale, but they're not happy to share how they got there.
That's right.
You know, if you've ever heard anybody say that you just got a salesman's answer, they'll give you a salesman's answer. They'll give you just enough information to tell you what you think you wanted to know, but not enough to understand
Right.
the whole process, right? So that is the unexpected benefit that I have found. You know, when we talked, I had some apprehension. I told you about that. And honestly, I had some apprehension about getting on the mastermind call, because I'm like, okay, well, you're going to have Joey up there asking questions. Nobody's going to share. He's going to try to get people to talk. But the problem is that I'm finding is the mastermind is only 1 hour long. We always run over. We're always talking. And a lot of times there's information that'll say, you know, if you and I are going back and forth, you'll say, hey, Reggie, just send me your information and we'll talk more about this after, because the conversation needs to continue. So I would say that's the biggest benefit that I found, unexpected. And then what was the second part of the question?
The second part is, have there been any unexpected insights or challenges or things to improve?
I would have to say that things to improve, I haven't found one yet, but you'll be the first to know.
But I will. I'm sure. I'm sure.
As far as the insight, what I have learned about this type of client is where I would say that I found some insight. This type of client that usually is a wealthier business owner with sometimes rather large assets. They put their pants on the exact same way as you and I do.
That's right.
They need help. They're very good at what they do. What our job is to figure out how to get them to trust us and let us be very good at what we do.
Come on.
And that's the insight. So
I love it.
And then once that happens, then they're a lifelong client.
That's it. Love it. Love it, Michael. Hey, listen, thank you so much for taking the time for doing this. I have to say, I deal with a lot of clients. I've been working with Fondaco for over 2 years. You, my friend, are a class act and a real pleasure to work with. Like, as a
I
CSM,
certainly appreciate that.
I truly, honestly, I really enjoy working with you and your son. And it's a beautiful thing to see, man. I really enjoy it. So thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate it.
I do appreciate that, and I do have to say that I look forward to our Thursday calls.
That's
So,
good, sir.
You know, I wanted to spring this last one on you, and I'll be happy to share any more that come along.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate it.